how to complete part 1 of WPA number 5, and then there will be a video for part 2 of WPA number 5. So let's take a look at what part 1 is asking you to do here. If you have already completed this section because you were in class and got it completed, you can go ahead to the next video unless you need a review of any of this or you want to check to see if you've done it correctly. For this one, we are now going to try to focus and narrow down to the thesis and the actual elements of the ad that we're going to include in the paper. So A, B, and C are part 1 here. First, we're going to develop a topic, and then we're going to brainstorm different elements of the ad that relate to that topic, and then work on a working thesis statement. Of course, the thesis statement will continue to evolve as we go through the paper. So one thing to keep in mind, you may want to go through WPA number 4, your ad analysis assignment, and review some of the key things that you wrote there. You may even want to go through and highlight any key phrases or key words that helped you get to sort of the heart of the ad or the overall way that the ad is working. It's also going to be really valuable for you to go back to the assignment sheet for paper number 2 and open it up and read through it again. And remember, on the assignment sheet, there are these prompt questions, and your prompt, the prompt question that you choose to build your thesis around will vary based on what your analysis of the ad contains. So these are the 2 overall questions. How does this ad appeal to the target audience? And what implicit messages does the ad contain that appeal to the subconscious fears or desires of the target audience? So if your ad, if you think your ad is mainly about class, so it's definitely about being fancy and sophisticated, or it's definitely mainly about being a down-home everyday person, you might want to use this question as the main formative question for your paper. How does this advertisement use images of social or economic class to associate the product with either populist or elitist social narratives? So your answer to the question then would be your thesis. So your thesis might sound like, this advertisement use images of populism to ... This one is about if an ad seems to promise social or personal rewards along with the actual literal benefits of the product. So for example, if you have an ad for Windex window cleaner, yeah, the ad is promising that you clean windows, but maybe the ad also seems to be suggesting popularity, success, marital bliss, so any of those social rewards, attractiveness or fitting in or belonging. This could be the main question that you focus on. This one is if your ad tends to use a lot of pathos and has an overwhelming emotional appeal, like, ooh, this is really fear-based or something like that, then you could use this question. This one is about a sense of a lifestyle or sense of identity. So if you feel the main thing your ad is doing is associating an ideal lifestyle with the product, if you buy this product, you'll get a little slice of this perfect life or lifestyle perfection, then you could choose this one. And this question here is focusing on gender or sexuality. So if you feel like this ad is really about masculinity, that's the main thing it's doing. Or if you feel like it's really about femininity or the promise of sexual attraction, then you could choose this one as your main focus question. And then we have thesis statement templates down here. So you can use some of the key phrases from this to help you build a thesis statement depending on what you want to focus your analysis on. So this one, you could say this advertisement for Windex uses images of an ideal domestic life to appeal to the consumer's desire for belonging and safety within a family life, right? So that sounds really rough because I'm not actually looking at an ad, but those are the types of phrases you might include here. So I just want to remind you to come back to this, have these in mind, and whichever of these fit best with your ad. And then there's thesis statement drafts here as well for you to look at. So you want to take a look at this and WPA number 4, your ad analysis assignment, as we move forward with WPA number 5. So for WPA number 5, this is the process you're going to go through. I'm going to use this Johnny Walker ad as an example, and as you can see, there's a lot going on in this ad. So the explicit message of this ad, what the ad is literally saying to us is, where flavor is king, this is a very flavorful whiskey, right? That's what they're saying. So that's just like the literal benefit of the product. So on a surface level, the ad is telling us if you drink Johnnie Walker, it will be a very flavorful whiskey for you to enjoy, right? But there's a lot of other types of messaging that are working on a more implicit or subconscious level here. So the first thing we want to do is probably just like take a look at the ad and what's the overall vibe here. There's a lot going on. It's this image of excess, right? We have this person in the middle, who's this dark, mysterious male figure with the top hat, with the fingertips pointing together, almost looking a little mischievous, like he's up to something. If you look at the background, it looks very aristocratic, the dark paneled walls and the old, like, antique art. It looks like a castle wall, you know, or like an old English estate where they would have all this art handed down from the centuries. You can see this great big chandelier lighting it all up. The overall vibe is very dark and these deep, rich colors, right? There's a lot of colors, but it's not like bright colors. They're these bold, sophisticated type of colors. Also in the ad, you can see there's women all around. Many of them are in these very suggestive poses. There's a few men in the ad as well, but they're definitely not as noticeable. Also in the ad, you can see all the fruits and the flavors. There's nuts everywhere, right? So again, suggesting this excessive flavor experience going on in the ad. And then, of course, the slogan where flavor is king. King is an aristocratic word, of course, right? So we have this scene of aristocratic excess. It's almost hedonistic, like this pleasure den, right? Something like that going on. You could talk about the bottle over here, really big. There's light glinting off of it. All of these details. Everything you point out about the ad needs to relate to the overall analysis you're offering over of the ad. So for part A on WPA number 5, we want to first develop a topic. So I want to choose the main things I want to say about the ad or the main ways the ad is working. So class and superiority are the main things I want to point out about this ad. Class and superiority in Johnnie Walker ad. Yours might be masculinity and ruggedness. It doesn't have to be two. Maybe you have one overall vibe, like social success or belonging, right? So you want to choose a couple keywords or one keyword that sort of that umbrella everything you want to say about the ad. So they encompass everything you'll be pointing out about the ad. So you'll put that on the part A box of WPA number 5. Part B then is the table underneath. So you'll brainstorm different elements of the ad that you can connect to this subject that you've pointed out. So what in the ad relates to class and superiority? Here's where we want to think about how the colors relate to class and superiority. Here's how we want to think about the content of the ad. So maybe I would, in the chart, I might put the man. I might put the women surrounding the man. I might put the background. I might put the fruits, right? So any different elements of content that relate to class and superiority in the ad. I want to think about composition, what's big, what's small. I would probably want to say that this is a very crowded image for composition, right? It's full of stuff. And to me, that relates to class and superiority because it's about having too much, having so much you have like too much, right? That's about class, that's about superiority. And copy meaning the words. In this case, I would want to spend some time talking about the slogan where flavor is king and how that relates to the class and the superiority images. So if we take a look at WPA number 5 again, here we're going to put the topic. So I would put class and superiority in Johnnie Walker ad. It is important that you include the title of the ad or at least the brand. So I could say here where flavor is king because the slogan will be the title. And then we're going to leave the thesis for now, but here I would put like the man and then how it relates. So I could say his body language is mysterious, clothing is aristocratic, and he's the central focus with lighting and composition, right? He's placed in the middle and then there's this spotlight on him. I could put colors over here, deep and bold colors, colorful, but bold, dark color scheme adds to aristocratic sophistication. So I'm going to continue on here. If you need to add another row, please do. You can just go insert and then go to format, table, and then insert row below, and so that you have all the rows that you need here. So that's A and B. And you can go ahead and do that for your ad. It might look something like this in that chart. Then we want to use the prompt questions and the thesis templates to create a working thesis. So I'm going to go back to the assignment sheet. I'm going to look at the templates and think about which one will help me arrange a thesis best, or which prompt question can I build a response to. You do not have to use the templates. The templates help you develop a draft of your thesis. They might sound a little robotic, they might sound a little awkward, but as you continue to develop your paper, you make the thesis your own. So my thesis is going to be this. The Johnnie Walker advertisement, where flavor is king, features a scene of lush excess, associating the liquor with an aristocratic, hedonistic lifestyle to exploit the consumer's desire for social superiority. So that then will go in the C box here. Please notice about the thesis, I've named the product, I've included the title, and then I have what the ad is doing and how it's doing it. Right? So it's exploiting the consumer's desire for social superiority by featuring a scene of lush excess and associating the liquor with a particular lifestyle. So I have there a pretty complex thesis. So that is going to go here in C. Remember, it's a working thesis. So as long as I'm seeing that you've gotten a level of analysis and you've got what it is, what the ad is, how it's working, and what it's doing overall, in C, I'm going to be happy, and you'll get some feedback on your thesis as well. So that's how you complete part 1 of this, and then the next video will walk you through part 2, creating the outline. So this is just a list. It's in any old random order. Part 2 is about how to form that into an outline, and specifically what I want the outline to look like for this ad so it's most useful to you. All right, good luck.